Oh, the Ukraine stepped it up a little bit here, guys. Let's see where this video takes us. This is a suggestion via a channel member, guys. Let's do it.
November 5th,
Oh,
2025.
this is coming from the channel Navy Signal.
Moscow, Russia. Behind the walls of the Kremlin, 57 of Russia's most senior officials gathered beneath the double-headed eagle. On the table before them lay a dossier stamped Sarmat Operational Test. Final authorization inside. Plans to prepare 3 RS-28 Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missiles, each carrying 10 nuclear warheads. Enough to erase Kiev, Dnipro, and Kharkiv in under 8 minutes.
No.
The Kremlin was once considered untouchable. But today, the sky over Moscow has cracked. Ukraine launched Combined Operation. 15 Bayraktar TB2 drones and 10 upgraded MiG-29s stood ready to strike the most heavily protected airspace on Earth. Moscow's $9.4 billion layered defense shield, protected by Podsolnuk radar, Krasikov
Whoa, look at that,
4EW,
guys.
Buk M3, Panzer S1, and the
Right.
S-500 Prometei. Could unmanned drones and fighter jets pierce Russia's steel sky? Or will this be Ukraine's greatest miscalculation? Let's find out.
Okay, guys. Listen, the suspense is absolutely amazing here. Well played on that.
November 5th, 2025.
Wait.
Moscow, Russia. 10 a.m.
That was a couple of days
The
ago.
sky above Moscow was gray and silent. Inside the Grand Council Hall of the Kremlin,
Okay.
57 of Russia's most powerful figures gathered beneath the double-headed eagle. The chandeliers burned bright, but the air was colder than stone. At the center sat Vladimir Putin. Around him, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, General Gerasimov, and the heads of Roscosmos and the Strategic Missile Forces. On the table lay a single folder marked Sarmat Operational Test. Final authorization inside it. Plans for a limited nuclear strike on Ukraine using 3 RS-28 Sarmat ICBMs, each carrying 10 warheads with a combined yield of 100 mega.
ICBM, guys. If they would have actually launched this type of thing, I think the world would have responded. Okay, so just understand this here. If they actually went through with it, the world would have responded in a massively fast, swift manner.
Tons. Enough to erase Kiev, Dnipro, and Kharkiv from the map in less than 8 minutes. Putin's words were measured, almost whispering, "We will end this war on our terms and remind the West who commands the sky."
Yeah, okay, Putin.
The generals nodded. Outside, the red flag fluttered above the Kremlin spires, unaware it might soon signal the world's end. Unseen to them, every vibration, every coded phrase in that room was already being captured. Ukraine's AI listening network, Perun Sentinel, had tapped into an encrypted satellite channel orbiting 22,000 miles above Earth. The data spike registered at 10:17 a.m., flagged as Category Omega, potential nuclear pre-launch sequence. Inside the Kremlin, the meeting continued, confident, secretive, unbroken. But somewhere beneath Kiev, a line of text appeared on an operator's screen. Authorization protocol detected, Moscow. Immediate response required history had just started counting down. 10:30 a.m. Kiev time, 30 meters underground, the operations room of the Ministry of Digital Defense sat in darkness. The central screen showed Moscow, a vast heart pounding beneath glass. The Kremlin's secret was no longer secret. Red letters flashed.
Let's go,
Category
guys.
Omega. Nuclear deployment protocol confirmed. Silence swallowed the room. Calm snapped into instant action. General Alexander Havrilenko placed both hands on the steel table, his voice like a knife. They are about to do it. There is no line of retreat. We must strike straight to the heart. On screen 2, the Kremlin's defensive architecture peeled back layer by layer. Podsolnuk long-range radar, multi-layer air defense network, Krasika 4, Buk M3, Panzer S1. And finally, the absolute firewall
boys.
S500,
Right, the big boys.
Prometei, a machine that seemed impossible to pierce, an air defense system proclaimed invulnerable to any threat. But the blade had been waiting in the dark for a long time. ENLEA 100 was watching everything over Russian airspace. Stealth Channel 4, northwest wind, the UAV officer reported. If we hug the Moskva at under 45 meters, their radars have only 8 seconds to react. 8 seconds. Enough for history to turn or to end a nation. Approved combined operation. The order was given.
Well, I swear, you guys better have made it.
15 Bayraktar TB2s were lying in wait. Phase 1, the bait.
Are those UAVs?
Their mission, to provoke, not to destroy. Programmed to mimic flock signals on radar, they will force the air defense batteries to open fire and expose their tactics.
Flock
Each
signals.
TB2 cost $5 million.
Like a flock of, yeah, definitely a drone. That's definitely a UAV, guys. And it's absolutely hilarious that on radar they look like a flock of birds.
Russian interceptor, $15 million. Phase 2 would strike deeper. 10 upgraded MiG-29s Fulcrums would climb, carrying R-77s and Kh-31s, a strike package worth nearly $200 million. These were modified fighters, 19 months of covert upgrades, low observable skins, infrared suppression, and digital stealth suites, reducing detectability by up to 87%. The plan skirted a 600-kilometer penetration through 240 radar stations, 2 Panzer belts, 76,000 cameras, and a Krasuka 4 EW node. Moscow's defensive ring, with an estimated $9.4 billion budget, now faced a blueprint to rip its command center open. And the sky over Eastern Europe began to shudder. 10:42 a.m., the western sky over Moscow remained eerily calm, as if the city had no idea it was about to be struck in the heart.
It had no idea.
From Poltava,
Please
15 Bayraktar.
Because the problem with like Russia, Putin specifically, is that they believe that they are the top dog. Specifically, they believe that they're impenetrable. They believe that nothing can touch them. They're the big boys, right? And they're going to do. And everyone else around them is going to do exactly what they dictate. So, of course, they're not going to expect anything that's coming, guys, right?
Our TB2s began their final flight. A formation worth $75 million in total, launched not to destroy, but to sacrifice with precision. They flew in a widening arc, no higher than 60 meters, skimming the cold air above the snowline. Not a drone strike team, but 15 deliberate torches sent into the storm. Russia detected them in 4.2 seconds.
Okay.
Red alerts flashed across Panzer S1, Buk M3, and Podsolnuk radar stations. The sky tore open as 32 interceptor missiles launched, each worth $1.2 to $3 million. In less than 42 seconds, the first 4 TB2s were gone. Russia had just burned $67 million in air defense firepower to erase $20 million of decoys. But war never follows clean arithmetic. The second wave hit, heavy, relentless, smashing through the sky like iron mallets. 14 TB2s fell, one after another, dissolving into bright flashes and dark trails of smoke. Russia believed the threat was neutralized. They believed every angle was sealed, but the 15th survived. TB2-15 slipped through a radar blind spot lasting only 0.8 seconds. A software glitch so small it might as well have been fate. It knifed toward the city's core, the Kremlin, closing distance fast, 700 meters, 400, 120. When it struck the copper-green dome, the explosion wasn't massive, just 12 kilograms of fragmentation charge. But it cracked history. The dome burst into flame and shrapnel, smoke spiraling upward like a black flag over Moscow. Sirens screamed, troops scrambled. State media went dark for 11 minutes, but civilians had already filmed everything. The footage spread faster than the fire itself. And that was only the opening of the gate. From the south, 10 upgraded MiG-29s Fulcrums, a formation worth $200 million,
they're coming, guys.
Broke through the cloud layer.
Bro, that was just like a demo. They ran a demo on them, guys.
Roaring like thunder, rolling straight through the bones of the city. They did not come to warn. They came to strike while the Kremlin was blind. At the exact moment Russia's heart was exposed. In that instant, Moscow understood. Too late. The loss of 14 drones was not Ukraine's failure. It was the price of entry.
Right.
Stay with me. What comes next is not just a battle.
I get it.
It is the moment Moscow realizes it is no longer untouchable. 11:02 a.m. The sky above Moscow trembled like a crack tearing through history. From 9,000 meters up, 10 MiG-29 Fulcrums dove in a spearhead formation, engines roaring like thunder tearing the clouds apart. They were no longer hiding. This was the moment of
they were
revelation,
coming, guys.
the moment to show the world that Ukraine had reached the center of Russian power.
Right.
Lock primary target, Kremlin Command Complex. The order was cold, surgical. At 12 kilometers out, the fighters dipped their noses. Targeting systems locked onto heat signatures and radar reflections from the city's heart. 20 Kalta-29T air-to-surface missiles detached from their wings, each worth nearly $1.2 million, streaking forward like flaming steel arrows. Moscow lit up in a flash of electric fire.
Steel arrows. Well
Russia
said.
responded instantly. The Pantsir S-1 batteries swung their autocannons, Buk M3 launchers fired volleys of interceptors, and the S-500 Prometei shield engaged to hunt down incoming warheads. In 10 seconds, the sky turned into a maze of explosions, contrails, and shattering shockwaves. 18 out of 20 missiles were intercepted, a near-perfect defense. But war does not require perfection.
Where are the two
It
at,
only
though, guys?
needs one opening. The last two missiles slipped through the storm and struck the Kremlin guest house, only 190 meters from the main palace. The twin detonations echoed across the city like ceremonial funeral drums.
Right.
5 senior officials were 20 others wounded, including aides, analysts, and communications officers. The city froze. Windows shook. Cameras caught fragments of the red roof falling like black snow. Meanwhile, MiG-29 tail number K-27 took shrapnel from an interceptor burst.
Okay.
One stabilizer shredded, engine coughing flame. The pilot did not eject. He pulled the stick, coaxing the crippled aircraft back toward Ukrainian airspace on only 31% thrust.
Okay.
He survived.
He made it, though.
And Putin? Safe, deep inside a hardened underground bunker. The throne remained,
Look at
but the
that.
silence around it was no longer the same. Ukraine's purpose was not assassination.
Right.
It was the message carried inside the explosion. We can reach your heart at any moment. Sit at the negotiation table. Moscow woke to a morning unlike any it had ever known. The city still stood, its towers, avenues, and crowds, but the air had changed. It was heavier, thicker, so quiet that one could almost hear the sound of fear breathing. News spread within 7 minutes through independent channels, and within 23 minutes, the entire world knew. Ukraine had struck the center of Russian power, not a border outpost, not an oil depot,
like the
not a
direct
warehouse,
center, period.
but the Kremlin itself.
Right.
At the diplomatic guest complex, rescue crews clawed through broken stone and shattered plaster. 5 deaths had been confirmed. 3 security advisors, a deputy parliamentary secretary, and a senior diplomat. 20 more were injured, many with crushed ribs, severe burns, or traumatic head damage from blast waves.
Right.
The numbers may have been small by wartime measure, but in a place
It
like
wasn't
this,
about that.
they were
It
a
wasn't about
political
that, guys.
earthquake.
Right.
Inside the National Security Chamber, Putin sat in silence. No one spoke. No one even dared shift in their chair. His expression did not change, but his eyes did. When power is touched, fear no longer belongs to the public. It belongs to the one who holds it. In Kiev, there were no cheers, no applause, no anthem. Only a single report read slowly. Primary strategic objective achieved. Demonstrate the ability to penetrate and strike the core defensive command of the Russian Federation.
Oh, that's big, bro.
They understood what that meant.
They didn't have to party on
Russia
that
could
one.
respond at any moment.
Did
But
they?
like a blade laid
Had
against
they?
an adversary's throat, the power is not in the cut. The power is in the knowledge the cut can be repeated.
Boom.
International media named the event Night of the Broken Sky.
Night of the
The
Broken
ruble
Sky.
fell 19% in 6 hours. 41 private flights departed Moscow that day, carrying families of ministers and oligarchs abroad. Small public gatherings
Bro, they-
began to
they
form.
went straight to
First in
Marbella.
St. Petersburg, then Yekaterinburg, then Kazan. There were no chants, no banners, no slogans. People simply stood still, looking up at the sky, understanding for the first time that Russia was no longer untouchable.
Untouchable, yep.
In Washington, Berlin, and Beijing, secure phones rang without pause. Behind every closed door, a single question echoed. If Ukraine can strike the Kremlin today, Where can they strike tomorrow?
And then a day
And
after.
at the end of the
And
night,
then a day
deep
after.
beneath Kiev, General Havrilenko spoke a single line, quiet but heavier than any missile. We do not need to win today. We only need them to understand that we can win. The war was not over, but the balance had shifted, and history, from this moment forward, would never return to what it once was.
No.
Wars do not end with the loudest explosions, but with the silence afterward. The moment when both sides realize there is no path forward that does not demand a greater price than the last. After the strike on the Kremlin, the world stood at that threshold. Russia could no longer claim invulnerability. Ukraine could no longer be dismissed as the weaker state forced only to defend. And the nations watching from afar were now compelled to reconsider their place in a balance of power that had suddenly shifted. Yet in that tension, it was the ordinary people who felt the consequences most clearly. Russian mothers looked to the sky, knowing their sons would be sent to the front once more. Ukrainian children tried to sleep to the sound of air sirens and the glow of missiles crossing the night. Every victory for a nation came paired with grief for its people, and so the final question was no longer who is stronger, but how much loss is enough. Ukraine proved it could strike at the heart of Russia, but its goal was not endless vengeance. It was to claim a rightful seat at the negotiation table, where it would not bow under force, but look its opponent in the eye. The war continues. The borders still burn beneath the winter sky, but the world has now heard a message spoken not with words, but with impact. No empire is eternal, and the will of a nation can reshape the course of history. Peace may not arrive tomorrow, but from that moment, it became something possible. If you found this analysis...
Okay, guys. Okay. The video came from Navy Signal here, guys. Whoa. Like, listen, I'm going to go ahead and give Ukraine credit because I generally don't give them much credit. In my head, I'm like, okay, guys, this is a much smaller place, right? Putin basically has the ability to take them off the map at any moment here. But the fact that I think it's probably one of these like David and Goliath type of moments here where they decided that they were no longer going to sit still and be rated, right? They were no longer going to do this here. I'm definitely proud that they actually did something. I definitely want to see the fallout from this here. But I'm sure it's, I wish for the best, guys, right? But the fact that the people that were in Russia, that were there knowing what Russia was doing specifically to the Ukraine for the entirety of this time here, they knew that. And they were completely fine with still hanging out, staying there. We're going to win, Mother Russia. You get what I'm saying? These type of things, right? But until they realized that they were not as safe as they thought they were, and then immediately everyone flies out in their private jets. Where are they going? To where they all go, Marbella, Spain, in the province of Andalusia, specifically in the county of Malaga, right? That's where they go. All the rich ones, all the super rich Russian oligarchs. That's where they did right there. But it's sad that it took that for them to kind of make a decision if they were going to stay there or not. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.